Hi everybody. We're doing a dynamics lesson. Our topic is work and energy. Work and energy is a topic under the heading of kinetics of particles. It discusses the solution of kinetic problems using the work and energy principle. The work and energy principle is based on Newton's second law. It is an indirect application of Newton's second law. We previously solved problems by directly applying Newton's second law. Now we will see how to solve them indirectly, using the work and energy principle. Yes, the title of our topic is Work and Energy. Indirect application of Newton's second law. First, what is work? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how to find the work done by a force. Various forces are acting on the particle we are considering, causing it to follow the trajectory shown in the figure. We want to find the work done by one of these forces. Let's call that force F. Let's find the work done by force F. Now let's see how to find it. For a force to do work, the particle, the object, must be in motion. That is, it must be changing its position. Let's assume our particle undergoes a very short displacement, a differential displacement, over a very short time interval. Let's say it displaces from position A to position A prime. Of course, since this displacement is differential, it is extremely small. Let's not forget that. That is, points A and A prime are almost on top of each other. But we are exaggerating the drawing. We are exaggerating the shape in order to be able to see it. We are showing dr as large. In reality, it is not possible to see it with the naked eye. Now, how do we find the work done by this force? Let's look at that. We find it by taking the dot product of the force and the displacement. This is, of course, differential work, elementary work. It is also an extremely small quantity. We are currently finding the differential work. Later, we will find the total work by adding these together. We find how much work a force does during a displacement of dr using this relationship. Du is the elementary work. The work done by the force F. The work done from A to A prime. It is found by the dot product of F and dr. Work is a scalar quantity. When we perform dot product, the result we get is a scalar quantity. It can be positive or negative. It can even be zero. Its unit is the joule. Essentially, we're multiplying Newton by meter, but we'll call it a joule. 1 joule is equal to 1 Newton meters. Now, let's consider a special case. The force and the displacement can be perpendicular to each other. So what happens then? The result of the dot product is 0. We know that the dot product of vectors perpendicular to each other is 0. Therefore, we conclude that a force perpendicular to the displacement does no work. Again, a force perpendicular to the displacement does no work. For a force to do work, it must have a component in the same direction as the displacement. Yes. Now, if we recall the dot product, how do we find the result when multiplying two vectors by using dot product? For example, an alternative, the magnitude of the first multiplied by the magnitude of the second multiplied by the cosine of the angle between them. Let's call the angle between the force F and the displacement dr alpha. The dot product of these two vectors is equal to F multiplied by ds multiplied by cosine alpha. The magnitude of dr is also equal to ds. Since these are differential quantities, we can assume that the magnitude of dr is equal to ds. Dr is a vector. It is the straight line distance from position A to position A prime. But ds is the distance measured from the path. But since these are differentials, they are equal to each other. They can be considered equal. We've always done it that way so far. They are equal. Now let's look at what the product of ds and cosine alpha corresponds to in this expression. What is ds times cosine alpha? It's the component of the displacement in the same direction as the force. It's the magnitude of the component of the displacement in the same direction as the force. So what are we doing? To find the work done by a force, we can find it by multiplying the magnitude of the force by the magnitude of the displacement component in the same direction as the force. This is one alternative. Second alternative, if we put cosine alpha next to f, let's see what f cosine alpha is. F cosine alpha is the projection of the force onto the displacement. It's the projection onto the direction of the displacement, that is, the tangential axis. As you know, the tangential axis is always tangent to the path. The displacement is also always tangent to the path. These coincide. Therefore, f times cosine alpha is equal to ft, which is the force component in the same direction as the displacement. It is equal to ft. So how do we find the work done by a force? This is the second alternative. We find it by multiplying the tangential component of the force by the magnitude of the displacement. We can find it that way too. Let's move on. Now, what does this result tell us? It says that the work done by a force is the work done by its tangential component. The work done by a force is equal to the sum of the work done by its components. But here, the normal component is not doing any work. Therefore, the work done by the force F is equal to the work done by the tangential component. This is the result we obtain. If we take the integral, considering any finite interval, and integrate from position 1 to position 2, we get u1 2 equals integral from s1 to s2 ft times ds. This is the relationship we will use to find the work done by the force F. We can find the work done by the force F from position s1 to position s2 using this relationship. When we take this integral, we find the work done by the force F. Now let's write the perpendicular components instead of F. Let's write Fn plus Ft instead of F. Then, using the property of the dot product, let's distribute the parentheses. We get the result Fn times dr plus Ft times dr. So, the work done by the force F is equal to the sum of the works done by the normal and tangential components. We know that the dot product of perpendicular vectors is 0. Therefore, the dot product of Fn and dr is 0. The work done by the normal component is 0. We always say this. So, only Ft remains. Ft times dr remains. So, we have proven once again what we said before. The work done by a force is equal only to the work done by the tangential component. Only the tangential component does work. The normal component does not do work. This is the case if we use the normal and tangential coordinates. Now, we said that the work done by a force can be positive or negative. Let's see how we decide this. We decide from Ft. We decide by looking at whether Ft is positive or negative. What does it mean for Ft to be positive? It means it is in the same direction as the displacement. If two vectors are in the same direction, the angle between them is 0. Therefore, the cosine 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, their dot product is positive. But if Ft is negative, that is, if it is in the opposite direction to the displacement, if these two vectors are opposite to each other, if they are in opposite directions, the angle between them is 180 degrees. The cosine 180 degrees is equal to -1. Therefore, the work done by F is negative. If Ft is positive, the work is positive. If Ft is negative, the work is negative. We don't look at anything else. Now, we obtained a relationship to find the work done by a force using integration, the integral of ftds from S1 to S2. Taking this integral may not always be necessary, or it may be difficult. The relationship giving the change of ft with respect to s may be complex. The integral may be a difficult one. In that case, we might find it using numerical integration. Anyway, what does the result we find with this integral correspond to? It corresponds to the area under the FTS graph. If we find that area, we will have found the integral. So, we don't necessarily need to take an integral. If we find the area under the FTS graph, we don't need to take an integral. We will have found the work done by F. We can try to find this area in any way that suits us. Now, there's something we need to emphasize here. When we use the normal and tangential coordinates to find the work done by F, then the second position is always greater than the first position. As you know, the positive side of the tangential axis is always in the direction of motion. We said that the side in which the motion is in is the positive side. Therefore, S2 is always greater than S1 on the normal and tangential axis. Let's emphasize this as well. Now, what happens when we use Cartesian coordinates? Let's see. If the force has x, y, and z components, which can have all of them. If the displacement also has x, y, and z components, which can also have all three components, then the result of the dot product is fx times dx plus fy times dy plus fz times dz. We can find the work done by a force in Cartesian coordinates using this relationship. Here we see that all components can do work. The x component, the y component, and the z component all do work if there is displacement in their respective directions. Fx and dx are in the same direction. Fy and dy are in the same direction. Fs and dz are in the same direction. However, these can be positive or negative. That's a separate matter. The sum of the work done by the perpendicular components gives the work done by the sum of these components. That is, the work done by the force F. Now let's talk about the work done by the friction force. First, let's remember this. When deciding whether the work done by a force is positive or negative, what do we look at? We look at the tangential component. We look at whether the tangential component is positive or negative. Let's first look at the case where the tangential component is positive. Let's consider a car. The driver presses the gas pedal. Therefore, it moves forward. The tangential axis is also forward. Whichever direction the displacement is, whichever direction the movement is, the tangential axis is positive in that direction. The friction force is also directed forward because the driver is pressing the gas pedal. Therefore, the projection of this friction force onto the tangential axis is positive. The work it does is also positive. In this case, the friction force does positive work. If the driver presses the brake, the friction force is directed backward. Its tangential component, its projection onto the tangential axis, is negative. The work it does is also negative. When the driver presses the brake, the friction force does negative work. There's also this situation. For example, the friction forces acting on a car turning a corner are perpendicular to the tangential axis. These friction forces are what enable the car to turn the corner. Because these friction forces are perpendicular to the tangential axis, their tangential component is 0. Their projection onto the tangential axis is 0. Therefore, they do no work. The friction force that enables a car to turn a corner does no work. Goodbye.